So my wife and I moved into our Brisbane apartment almost a year ago with nothing but a few suitcases, half a broken kettle, and a dream which, if I'm being completely honest, felt completely out of reach. But since then, everything has changed. I started a new job, rebuilt my career from scratch, and I decided I wanted to chase something that is laughably impossible. And somehow it all started in this lovely apartment. But sadly, it was time to go. And not because we wanted to, but because we had to. Our tenancy was up. So in this video, in the space of 24 hours, we are packing up our entire life that we built in this lovely little flat, and if I'm being honest, I didn't expect it to hit as hard as it did. Hey mate, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Sam, a British actor documenting my journey of rebuilding my life in Australia. So we are in the living room, and thankfully, not only is my wife here, but my cousin-in-law's here, so we've got an extra pair of hands. Back in London, when we were living in this tiny one-bed flat, we thought it would take like half a day to pack, but it actually ended up taking like several days. And so we're feeling kind of nervous that it's gonna be like that today, but I think we've learned a lot from it, and we've learned that the kitchen takes the longest because of all of the things hidden in the cupboards. The goal, honestly, of this entire day in this video is to get the packing done within 12 hours. So we were trying to, turn a new page, learn from our mistakes, and we had got really organized by buying a moving house kit, with all the boxes and tape and the wrapping paper. And honestly, having a moving package has saved so much time and stress. So we were navigating this new chapter of being an adult where now you have a fridge and a washing machine and a couch, and you can't just throw that stuff in the back of your Renault Clio. No, you actually have to have a proper moving van. And so we decided to hire these movers because we knew it would make the process go a lot smoother, which it did. Now we're in the office. So it's time to basically pack up this amazing room that I used as my YouTube studio for the last year, created the majority of my videos in here. It's sad to be packing this all away, but absolutely necessary. So just got to get on with it. And if you've ever lived through something like this before, let me know by hitting that like button down below. I don't know if I've told you this before, but this was actually the favourite place that my wife and I have ever lived. A place of our own that we actually enjoyed, because when I was like in my uni dorm or my uni house, it was dingy. What do you expect being a student? But we had finally found this apartment that we adore. It had these big windows that let the golden hour in, and it had a dishwasher, which we've never experienced before, and it had hardwood floors. I know it sounds really materialistic, but when you've been dirt poor like I have for the majority of my 20s, it was so nice to have these luxuries. And it's funny, sometimes life gives you this perfect push to get out of your comfort zone. We didn't want to leave this apartment, but we had to. If I'm being honest, it was a bit of a blessing because it was perfect timing with our flight back to the UK for this family visit. And that's where I am right now, hence the change of location. Don't worry, it's just for a short period of time. Australia is very much still our home. Probably thinking, Sam, why are you moving back to the UK for 2.5 months? We're going back basically to, see family, spend time with my parents, because none of us are getting any younger. Just experience some of those home comforts that, although I can get a lot of them here, it doesn't feel quite the same. However, somewhere between cleaning out my office and all of my clothes from the bedroom, I started getting less sad about leaving and more excited. Excited because we really want to find an apartment in Brisbane that has a longer tenancy. We were on a really short tenancy, which if you've been following the channel, you can probably tell. And while we can't afford to buy somewhere yet, if I'm being honest, we're really excited to rent an apartment that hopefully is just as nice, but with a slightly longer tenancy so we can get a bit more settled in. If you're up and moving all the time, which honestly, my wife and I have been ever since we met in Japan, we've been moving back and forth all these countries, you get to a point where you get a bit tired of that and you just want to find a place that you can call home. For us right now, that is very much Australia, and I feel myself getting more Aussie by the day, especially being back in the UK. I feel like sometimes I'm more Australian than I am British. And just a quick one, you know what I'm gonna say. I've seen on my analytics, guys, that over 98% of you who regularly watch these videos aren't yet subscribed. So if you're enjoying this, hit that subscribe button. Helps me to keep these videos coming. Let's get back to it. We've made good progress. I even did something that I think was quite clever today. We had this big white bookshelf that's kind of like bending. It was time for it to go, basically. And so we just threw it on Marketplace, and within a few hours, there were people from round the corner who came and picked it up. And the guy was from the UK, actually, which was amazing. And he instantly heard the accent. It literally took me 1 minute to take the photos, put it on Marketplace, and then get the message from the person who wanted to pick it up. So absolutely amazing. I was getting a bit emotional during this move, not just because we loved living there, but because this was the flat where I started to find my feet in life. Any of you who've watched a few of these videos might know that since I graduated uni and moved to London, you know, I had a bit of a drinking problem. I was very lonely, struggling actor making like £200 a week, barely getting by. And suddenly I moved to Japan. I find the love of my life. Everything starts getting better. But if I'm being honest, it wasn't until I realized that the UK wasn't serving me in the way that I needed it to, right, at the time. And so moving to Australia and starting a new life in this new apartment, it changed everything for me. And this apartment is where I decided to chase something mad. I decided to start creating a YouTube channel and actually stick with it, something I've never been able to do ever since I started making YouTube videos when I was like 13 years old. And that's when I decided to buckle down and work more on my acting career. But career and money aside, it's also the place my wife and I could call home. It's the place where I made lots of Aussie friends and started to actually build a social circle, something that I actually haven't had since I was in secondary school. Since I was 17 years old. When you start packing, you start getting all of this unexpected nostalgia, you know, things from even a year ago that you've forgotten about, old photos and even like old things that I'd saved to include in videos that I've completely forgot to. And it's funny, from all this packing, you start realizing you've got like lots of extra little jobs to do. Like, for example, we've got this tub of ice cream in there. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do with that. 2 avocados, I'm probably just going to eat them. Do you know what I mean? Like random, no. And by the way, guys, if you've been resonating with my story at all, you might love my free weekly newsletter. It's only a 3-minute read, so if that sounds good, I'll leave it in the first link in the description below. And so it's the next day, waking up bright and early. The movers came. They were absolute legends, by the way. And once all the stuff was moved out, I took one last moment to walk around the apartment, obviously check all the windows and doors are locked for the landlord, and basically say goodbye to the open space, like the last episode of Friends. That's what it felt like. And Australia had to hit me with that beautiful golden hour shining through the windows, and I thought to myself, I really hope I'll be back in Australia soon, and I hope my wife and I can find an apartment like this soon. Not for the materialistic obsession of having a fancy apartment, just having a safe place that you love in what I think is the most beautiful country in the world, and that is Australia. And one thing I really need to say is that when you're in a relationship and you're moving with your other half, it can actually be a challenging time. You will be sleep deprived. It's hard work packing up the entire apartment into boxes. It's hard work, you know, closing all your accounts and your bills and doing this. And it's hard work getting on a 24-hour flight, packing up your entire life into a couple of suitcases and traveling to the other side of the world, knowing that all of your stuff is just sitting in a random storage unit somewhere. You're not sure what's going to happen. It's a bit scary, but honestly, I know I found the right person, because it's brought Maddie and I closer together every single time, even when it's been tough. And not that I'm that experienced in life, but the best advice I could say is find someone who not only supports you in the good times, but supports you when life is bloody difficult. And if you've ever thought of moving to Australia, or you want to know what it's like being a Brit in Australia and the things that blow my mind, then go watch this video here. It's all about the 51 things in Australia that I find absolutely unbelievable. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.